Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the difference between OSDD and DID. So the criteria under code 300.15 is for OSDD. This category applies to presentations in which symptoms characteristic of a dissociative disorder that cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning predominate but do not meet the full criteria for any of the dissociative disorders in diagnostic class. The other specified dissociative disorder category is used in situations in which the clinician chooses to specify reason that the presentation does not meet the criteria for any specific dissociative disorder. And there's 5 of them, so it's not meeting that criteria. Okay? This is done by recording other specified dissociative disorder, followed by the specific reason, e.g., dissociative trance. Example presentations that can be specified using the other specified designation include the following. Number 1, chronic and recurrent syndromes of mixed dissociative symptoms. This category includes identity disturbance associated with less than marked discontinuities in a sense of self and agency, or alterations of identity or episodes of possession in an individual who reports no dissociative amnesia. Number 2, identity disturbance due to prolonged and intense coercive persuasion. Individuals who have been subjected to intense coercive persuasion, e.g., brainwashing, thought reform, indoctrination while captive, torture, long-term political imprisonment, recruitment by sex/cult, or by terror organizations, may present with prolonged changes in or conscious questions of their identity. Number 3, acute dissociative reactions to stressful events. This category is for acute, transient conditions that typically last less than 1 month, and sometimes only a few hours or days. These conditions are categorized by constriction of consciousness, depersonalization, derealization, perceptual disturbances, e.g., time slowing, microamnesias, transient stupor, and or alterations in sense motory function. Number 4, dissociative trance. This condition is categorized by an acute narrowing or complete loss of awareness of immediate surroundings that manifest as profound unresponsive or insensitivity to environmental stimuli. This may be occupied by minor stereotype behaviors of which the individual is unaware and or that he or she cannot control, as well as transient paralysis or loss of consciousness. The dissociative trance is not a normal part of a broadly accepted collective, cultural, or religious practice. Now I'm going to bring up what has happened with OSDD and the A1B1 thing going on. First, I'm going to read this clip, and this is from the APA. The DSM-5 diagnostic manual no longer uses the term not otherwise specified disorder in diagnoses, including DDNOS. Instead, it is introduced as other specified disorder and or unspecified disorder diagnosis. This means that most people with dissociative disorders not otherwise specified in the DSM-4 manual will be diagnosed with other specified dissociative disorder in the newer DSM-5, 1, 4, and 6. So this was given to me by a mental health care professional. Please understand that what you're stating is out of the DSM-4, but in the DSM-5 there is no reference to A1 or B1 under DID or OSDD as shown to me. Please represent that as a crosswalk of the two, and again, there is no A1 or B1 in combining the two diagnostics that the APA does not specify. This is what we're talking about here. So this is the DSM-4, and this is the categories for that. And what they did is they moved these just right over here, but they combined these two together, okay, to make other specified dissociative disorder, which is OSDD. So these two were just basically cramped together. And it says here, like dissociative identity disorder, but less distinct parts, no alters DDNOS A1 or without amnesia DDNOS B1. Okay, so there's an A1 B1 here that's taught, but this is the old manual with DDNOS. Now, dissociative disorder, which specific symptoms include identity change due to brainwashing, acute dissociative reaction, dissociative trance, blah, 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 blah. So again, it's OSDD, okay? And what's happening is these are the criteria for OSDD. So you're basically, what you're doing is claiming an example of OSDD as an A1 or B1 theory, okay? So it'd be like me saying I have DID and then going into the DSM-5 diagnostic and picking one of the criteria to identify as. It just doesn't make sense. Because I'm not a therapist, doctor, / whatever, I do my research. So there are going to be two places that I have done extensive research with, and I'm going to read from their words as well. And some of the words I just read prior are also from these two resources. So in the beginning, I read those diagnostics off my computer, and that was from traumadisassociation.com, and the other one I'm going to be taking from is carolspring.com. Keep in mind, we also have diagnostics straight out of the DSM-5 and 4, which I showed you, and so that should help somewhat, I would think. So both other specified dissociative disorder and unspecified dissociative disorder have been assigned diagnostic code to 300.15. Together they act as a residual category for dissociative symptoms which do not fit within a more specific category. Unspecified dissociative disorder is used when either the clinician decides not to specify the reason that the other criteria are not met, or information's not met that exists to make a more specific diagnosis. What they're saying here is that there are codes that have to be met to meet specific diagnostics. So, and this is where it gets kind of difficult for a lot of people to understand. You can see here there are specific syndromes, multiple personality disorder. So these codes basically is what you mark to identify and send in for billing and whatnot. So what happens here is you can see there's many different codes. And as you can see, other specified dissociative disorders are a different code. They're a different category, they're a different diagnostic. So I'm hoping that will clear that subject. Again, these are the references that I'm reading from. Most of my work is from, and also the carolspring.com. This is something that Caroline Spring had stated. OSDD, and her definition might be this, that OSDD is like dissociative identity disorder, but without distinct parts of a personality.